Welcome to Conflict News 24. Some updates for you on the ongoing two conflicts. First one is in East Congo, second one is Russia-Ukraine conflict. Four updates from East Congo conflict where firstly renewed fighting is being reported. Ceasefire violated which came into force on the 25th of November. M23 is accusing FARDC of violating the ceasefire fighting ongoing in Bwiza. Secondly, a closing ceremony of a third inter-Congolese dialogue held in Nairobi, Kenya is underway. Yoro Kenyatta is speaking there. The ceremony was due to be held yesterday, but it was postponed yesterday. Why? And thirdly, a commander of a Ugandan opposition group, fighters group, operating in Congo has been arrested in Congo. And fourthly, Anti-Blinken US Secretary of State called Paul Kagame Rwandan president yesterday. And after that, a Rwandan minister shared some details. It seems that Kagame Blinken call did not go well. Secondly, Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian forces, Ukrainian drones rather, have hit three air bases inside Russia. It has been confirmed. Yesterday, we spoke about two bases, airfields, which suffered some damage. So there were unconfirmed reports about attacks or accidents at the two air bases. Now, three attacks on three different air bases inside Russia, hundreds of kilometers away from Ukraine on Russian territory, are being confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry. And lastly, Zelensky was seen on front lines a few minutes ago. The man is leading his troops from the front. Firstly, viewers, East Congo conflict, renewed fighting is being reported. We know that around 2 weeks ago in Luanda, Angola, East Africa community country leaders met. They issued a joint declaration and they called for implementation of ceasefire starting on the 25th of November in East Congo between M23 and other groups, including Congolese military. The ceasefire came into force on the 25th of November. We saw one violation of the ceasefire in Kashishe when M23 took control of Kashishe. Then FDLR, Bama, Nyatra tried to retake Kashishe. They could not. And then hundreds of civilians, dozens of civilians were killed in revenge attacks by M23 FARDC. Now, second violation of ceasefire is being reported. Fighting went on for several hours in Bwiza today. Bwiza is situated to the west of Congo-Rwanda border, and the two sides used light arms and heavy weapons. M23's Lawrence Kenyoka a few minutes ago said that FARDC had violated the ceasefire and attacked M23 fighters in Bwiza. It means that ceasefire is now being violated. Second, a violation. But still, we cannot say that all-out fighting has resumed. But the second violation is a critical one. If violations continue, it means that ceasefire will collapse, which is already very fragile because talks in Nairobi, Kenya did not include M23 fighters and no declaration so far in Nairobi, Kenya. Joint statement. Now it seems that fragile ceasefire is collapsing, though not totally. Secondly, viewers, second news story is about closing ceremony of the dialogue to resolve East Congo conflict, which was held in Nairobi, Kenya. A closing ceremony was due to be held on Monday, but some delegates of armed groups boycotted the closing ceremony. Why? Because they said that they were not paid per diem, which was around $300. Some delegates were paid the allowance, some were not. So they boycotted the closing ceremony. We know that several delegates of armed factions from DRC are participating in Nairobi talks, the third inter-Congolese talks. And Uhuru Kenyatta, East Africa Community facilitator, was furious at the delegates yesterday when they boycotted the ceremony. He said that no one will get anything, and he would tell international community not to give any money to these armed factions, these delegates, if they boycotted the ceremony. But delegates of armed factions, they boycotted the ceremony. Then things were resolved in the background, and now when I'm recording this video, a closing ceremony is underway. Uhuru Kenyatta was speaking a few minutes ago, and he was saying that people can enter DRC. DRC is very hospitable, but foreigners should enter DRC through the door, not through the window. So that is why foreign groups will have to leave DRC, FDLR. Will it leave DRC? What about Burundi's? What about Ugandan group ADF? Will they leave DRC? It's easier said than done. Closing ceremony underway. We could see a joint statement maybe in coming hours. Thirdly, viewers, commander of a Ugandan opposition fighters group has been arrested in East Congo. ADF is operating in Congo, which is a Ugandan opposition fighters group called Allied Democratic Force. You know that Uganda has been conducting airstrikes on ADF inside Congo. And in an operation by Ugandan troops and FARDC, Congolese military, this ADF commander was arrested in Rwenzori sector of Beni. Beni zone, Rwenzori sector, where ADF commander has been arrested. Now, Kenyatta is saying that these armed factions, ADF, FDLR, Red Tabara, Burundi, they should return to Burundi, Uganda, and Rwanda. How is it possible? Because Rwandan forces, Burundi's forces, Ugandan forces, they are hunting down these fighters in DRC. So how can they be welcomed in their parent countries? So what is needed is some joint solution involving these groups, countries. Otherwise, disarming and return of foreign groups operating in East Congo is an uphill task. Fourthly, viewers, Antony Blinken, US Secretary of State, held a telephonic conversation with Paul Kagame, Rwandan president, yesterday. After that, Vincent Biruta, Rwandan minister, spoke. Rwandan minister said after the talk between Kagame and Blinken that differences in understanding of the issue remain. It means that position of the US and Rwanda is different regarding the issue of East Congo conflict. Secondly, he said, international community continues to exacerbate the problem by adopting wrong and misguided approach. Again, thirdly, he said that you cannot place a responsibility of whatever is happening on Rwanda. Place responsibility where it belongs. And DRC's government is dysfunctional. No institutions operating there. And M23 fighters should not be equated to Rwanda. It is not Rwanda's problem to solve. international community is emboldening DRC. DRC, Congo's government, is not honoring its commitments. Very clear that Kagame-Blinken talk did not go well. We know that before this talk, EU and US issued statements urging Rwanda to stop supporting M23 fighters in East Congo. So it's very clear that US wants Rwanda to stop supporting M23 fighters, but Rwanda has its own position about this conflict. Lastly, viewers, we have two new stories from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Firstly, Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian territories have been confirmed. Not the first time, but earlier attacks were close to Ukraine-Russia border. Now attacks have been carried out hundreds of kilometers away from Ukrainian border. Russian Defense Ministry has confirmed 2 attacks were confirmed yesterday and 1 was confirmed just a few hours ago. 3 air bases of Russian military were hit by Ukrainian drones inside Russia. 3 bases are firstly Saratov, 700 kilometers away from Ukraine-Russia border. Ukrainian drones, kamikaze drones, managed to reach there. The air base was hit, Angles Air Base, and there are some nuclear missile carrier jets were hit, capable of carrying nuclear missiles. T-95, Tu-22 M3 were hit, 700 kilometers away from Ukraine-Russia border. Secondly, in Ryazan, another Russian air base was hit. Its name is Dyagilevo. Again, infrastructure suffered damage and some Air Force assets too. And today, and Ryazan is 450 kilometers away from Ukraine border. Third air base hit is Kursk, which is close to Ukraine-Russia border. It was hit on the night between Monday and Tuesday. Here also, Russian air assets suffered losses. So Ukraine is now in a position to reach deep inside Russia. It can hit Russian territories 700 kilometers away from Ukrainian border. This is a testing winter for Ukrainians because energy infrastructure is being hit by Russian jets on daily basis. Now Ukraine is hitting back. It is showing its capability of hitting deep inside Russia. If you remember, when Ukrainian forces hit Crimean Bridge, not through a drone strike, I think it was a vehicle blast there a few weeks ago. After that, Russia launched a massive air campaign hitting Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Now, when 3 Air Force bases in Russia, hundreds of kilometers away from Ukraine, have been hit, what is going to be Russian response? Obviously, Russia is going to hit back. In coming days, we could see massive counterattacks from Russia in the form of some massive air campaign on Ukrainian territories. And lastly, viewers, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, was on front lines a few minutes ago, leading his troops from the front. He was in Donbass region. And there he said that next time he'll meet his troops in Donetsk, Lugansk, and maybe in Crimea too, which is under Russian control since 2014. Zelensky has led his troops well. I remember in March when I was covering this conflict, Kiev, Ukraine capital, was being put under siege by Russians. Zelensky was told by Western allies to leave Kiev towards Western Ukraine. He did not. He stuck in there. He stayed with his troops and Ukrainian forces, they managed to defend Kiev. And now he is in Donbass, very close to front lines. Thank you for watching.